the Don and Lorena Meyer studio at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Journalism and Mass Communications. This is Nebraska Nightly.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Josh Dozler.
And I'm Sophie Farrell. President Donald Trump is threatening other countries with tariffs on foreign goods. But how much does this affect Nebraskans? That's our top story tonight. Trump's tariffs kicked into full swing on Tuesday. The decision called for 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada and 20% on China. Beijing responded by imposing 15% tariffs on U.S. farm exports. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau explained his concern about this upcoming trade war and in turn imposed tariffs on over $100 billion of U.S. goods over the next 21 days. Many are calling this a trade war, and this could hurt Nebraskans especially.
If we assume those tariffs, as described, are fully implemented, I think most economists would argue that it's going to negatively affect the country, certainly in the sense of damaging our economy. Some of the tariffs that are being put on agricultural commodities by other countries, and China is certainly one of those, could be particularly harmful to Nebraska farmers. I mean, one of the crops that I was reading about that's getting a tariff put on it is soybeans, and soybeans is pretty important to Nebraska agriculture. But there's a whole range of agricultural commodities that are exported from Nebraska that if big tariffs are put on them by the importing countries, yeah, that could be negative for Nebraska's farmers.
While waiting to hear from Mexico's retaliations, which were set to be announced Sunday, Trump pulled back on the tariffs on Canada and Mexico. These tariffs have been delayed for 1 month, but can be expected to be back soon.
I think everything's just going to get more expensive. Like, the majority of college students are already working minimum wage jobs to afford things, and we can't afford things as it is. We already aren't able to live off that, and I think people are just not going to be able to buy things anymore.
Rising costs, declining revenue, and the end of post-COVID grants are putting the Lincoln Airport at a crossroads. Nebraska Nightly's Chase Rue reports the impact on travelers, including UNL students, is uncertain.
The Lincoln Airport appeals to people willing to pay a little extra for the convenience. But with costs soaring and revenue dipping, airport management is reworking their financial strategy.
One of the kind of nuances of budgeting was some of that was due to some COVID funding that we also received. And so for a few years, a lot of airports, not just us, received a lot of additional funding. So for a few years, it looked like the revenue was higher just because we knew we had those funds coming in. And now those funds are gone, so things are starting to level set.
As the airport looks for solutions, student travelers are starting to feel the crunch. The Lincoln Airport is the official airport of Husker Athletics and a great convenience for students at UNL. As spring break approaches, some students are weighing their options, including flying out of larger hubs like Omaha or Kansas City.
I would say maybe lowering the prices and making just a one-way flight straight to Minneapolis instead of having layovers. I would choose Omaha over Lincoln Airport as of right now.
Barth says the real goal is not to compete with Omaha. It is simply to encourage more people to fly.
In the end, we all just want people to fly because when they win, we win kind of thing.
LNK finished a $56 million renovation in 2024. The airport hopes to entice more local travelers to fly closer to home.
Starting even in this May, we'll have 9 flights a day, and so you're really starting to see those numbers tick back up, and so we should see a 5% growth this year just in passenger numbers.
With the cut of post-COVID-19 grants from the Lincoln Airport, travelers are finding it more expensive than ever to fly out of Lincoln, which bears the question, is it better to fly out of Omaha or even Kansas City? 2025 will be a pivotal year to show where the Lincoln Airport goes from here. I'm Chase Rue, Nebraska Nightly.
As the Lincoln Airport works to navigate these financial challenges, travelers will have to decide if the convenience is worth the cost.
Bridger Cruz is here with us live from Pinnacle Bank Arena. Bridger, how is it feeling out there?
Yes, it's great here at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and the Huskers not playing today. Instead, it's the local high school team showing out at the NSAA Girls State Tournament. Been an exciting few days of games, semifinals getting underway now, and more games to come as we continue. And as you can tell, a bubbling Pinnacle Bank Arena as people move in and out watching their favorite high school teams, their friends and relatives compete in what is always a big week in high school sports. We'll have more for that coming up after this.
Thank you for that update, Bridger. The Lincoln Police Department announced a traffic safety enforcement project for the month of March on Monday. Lincoln Police say officers with advanced traffic enforcement training will monitor areas with high reports of traffic incidents. LPD announced the results of a similar February project with 74 citations, 65 traffic stops, and 21 warnings. This project comes from a grant allowing officers to work overtime enforcing traffic laws.
Funeral services will be Tuesday morning for former Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Director Patricia Lopez, who died March 2nd. Lopez played a pivotal role in establishing Nebraska's statewide public health system prior to her role as the director of county's health department. As director, she heavily contributed to the success of the community during COVID-19. Lancaster County had very low mortality rates during the pandemic when compared to other counties its size. The city said Lopez's leadership made that possible. Pat Lopez joined the county's health department for the first time in her career nearly 50 years ago. Mayor Lyrian Gaylord Baird described her passing as a significant loss for the community, highlighting her commitment to the well-being of Lincoln residents.
Never stops. And at the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, your blood could help save lives. Right now, only 7% of the population donates blood. But imagine if there were more.
We're sitting at below a 7-day level of supply of all blood types across the board. So every blood type is important, and we need all donors of all types to come in and donate right now.
At the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, they believe that all types make a strong blood supply.
Social media is a daily part of many college students' lives, something we've become used to, but it can also be overwhelming and draining. Studies show that taking regular breaks from social media reduces stress and improves mental health. Too much screen time has been proven to increase anxiety, while stepping away helps you reconnect with the world around you. Take a break. Protect your mental health.
Welcome back to Nebraska Nightly. It sure has been an odd week of weather here in the capital city. Currently looking at overcast skies downtown as the weekend begins under the chill of winter holding on for a few more days.
Looking at our current conditions, we are continuing to see overcast skies, the sun trying to peek out every once in a while. There's still a 40% chance of rain through the remainder of the day, and the wind will continue to blow with gusts reaching up to 30 miles per hour.
Tonight, the chill remains in the air. A low temperature of 23 degrees is forecasted. The wind will die down and feel more like a spring night, but gusts could still reach 15 to 20 miles per hour. Might be a nice night for a jacket or heavier sweater for your Friday night activities.
Taking a look ahead at the week ahead, spring will attempt to make a triumphant return, reaching a near high of 54 tomorrow before we fully thaw out and see the 70s again. 77 on Monday, 75 on Thursday. With that warm-up, though, there will be a chance for scattered storms, as the possibility for thunderstorms will increase at the end of next week. The election for an ASUN student body president is underway, and this year there are 4 groups running for the spot. Nebraska Nightly's Dawson Iasillo is with Momentum presidential candidate Swarnima Kane to talk about her campaign. Dawson?
Thank you. So Swarnima, you're here running for student body president with the Momentum campaign. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Swarnima Kane. I'm a graduate student in the Department of Philosophy. I'm a PhD student, and yes.
What do you bring to the table for ASUN?
So right now I'm also working as a graduate senator at ASUN, and I think so running as a president for the next election, I really want to advocate for policies which could work for the graduate students, because I think they kind of are neglected. But I really want to also focus on the mental health issues, the healthcare policies, and also work on free hate speech things. And yeah, that's what I really want to work on. Yep. During this campaign.
And was there one reason that kind of motivated you to want to run for ASUN president?
Yeah, so as I'm serving as a graduate senator, I think so graduate school is neglected. We don't have enough representation at the ASUN right now. And what happens is that when you don't have enough representation, nothing works for us, there are no policies for us, and we have a lot of concerns and issues. And with the new administration coming in, we are seeing a rapid change on campus. And I think so, being a graduate student, if I run for the president, I can really advocate those policies and make sure that they have a safe environment while doing their graduate school. And even for the undergrads, I also think that undergrads always have a priority whenever ASUN is concerned and graduate school is kind of neglected. So I really want to balance those two schools, yeah.
And what would be your main courses of action if you were to become ASUN president?
My main courses of action would be focusing really on healthcare and also fighting for the LGBTQ community. I think that after the closure of DEI, we really want that community to be supported, highlighted. They need more spotlight, and also they need free space to talk about. And I think so right now it's kind of restricted. And I think so I can bring that space to them so they can really openly talk about it. And I think so talking to that community, I can bring them on board with my ASUN campaign, and we can work on the policies. And I also think that female students specifically need safer environment on campus, so we would be working with that too. And with the university housing, I would like to really enforce gender neutral or gender inclusive housing. That's what I'm really looking forward to, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Back to you guys at the desk.
Elections for ASUN will be April 1st through 2nd. Stay tuned for more candidate interviews with Nebraska Nightly.
The Lead Center brings in a variety of acts and events. And when events finish, hungry customers flock to Bison Witches, where Josie Sutton reports on the increase in traffic at the local favorite.
Bison Witches Bar and Deli, located near the Haymarket, is a popular lunch spot for UNL staff, students, and other local businesses. They sell sandwiches, soups, salads, and a variety of cocktails. At 13th and P, it is located in between the UNL City campus and the Haymarket, just blocks from Pinnacle Bank Arena. However, Bison Witches has been attracting a different crowd lately, from the Lead Center. These performances bring plenty of business to Bison Witches, and the workers have learned to expect a rush. Bison Witches aims to please the lead crowd, even making specialty drinks for Moulin Rouge.
We do have a lot of plays. We are located close to the Lead Center. For instance, tonight the musical Beetlejuice is playing, and we got quite a big rush tonight from people that are getting something to eat before they head to the show. A lot of people come in here for the lunch. You know, they're working in the area around us, downtown Lincoln, a lot of businesses. Yeah, we do have a lot of students that work here. For instance, I am a student. And then a lot of servers, bartenders I work with are also students. Get a lot of workers that come and go as they're graduating and getting enrolled here at Lincoln. It's a great job to have while you're a student here in Lincoln.
Bison Witches will continue to service sports fans, concert goers, locals, and theater fanatics. Josie Sutton, Nebraska.
Tuesday was opening night for a new musical at the Lead Center, and Nebraska Nightly's Bella Pitts got a behind-the-scenes look.
The Ghost with the Most is taking over the Lead Center until March 9th and putting on a show that is heartwarming while having a great mix of dark humor and relatable characters. Megan McGinnis, who plays Barbara Maitland in the national tour, says this show teaches audiences how to really live.
I love Barbara because she's trying to be a perfectionist, which I can identify with. You know, she has her life plan, and then she dies. And she has to sort of figure out, you know, what to do from there. And the great journey for her is that in death, she figures out how to live. You know, I think that everybody can learn from Barbara because it is about taking that step, having that courage to sort of do what scares you. I think that that's a life lesson.
Based on the 1988 Tim Burton cult classic film, this hilariously heartwarming musical explores themes of grief and what it means to be a family. Patrick Oliver Jones plays Otho, the life coach in this production.
We get, and certainly even when we get fan letters or just people writing into the show, is the part of Lydia losing her mother at such a young age. And I know that there are many young people. When I was younger, I lost my grandmother. So we all have these people that are close to us that we lose at such a young age. And I think that that's something that any of us can relate to.
Beetlejuice is a must-see experience and will most certainly leave you laughing. Bella Pitts, Nebraska Nightly.
Coming up, Malala returns to Pakistan.
And more on the future for the Department of Education.
Many of the brands you love don't love animals like you do. Look at the labels of products you use for a bunny logo signifying they don't lab test on animals. Check the label for those who aren't able. Start making the shift by visiting crueltyfreekitty.com today.
Don't forget to spring forward this weekend. Daylight savings time begins on Sunday, and while it'll mean more daylight hours during evening time, it'll also disrupt sleep patterns. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to sleep psychologists about how not to lose sleep over the time change.
Here comes the sun. On Sunday, March 9th at 2 a.m., spring your clocks forward, but make sure you're also shifting your sleep.
With daylight savings time, it disrupts our natural circadian rhythm. So that's our body's kind of internal sleep clock.
Michelle Drerup with Cleveland Clinic says the shift in light exposure can cause sleep disturbances for days after the change. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine says it's also linked to a rise in car crashes, cardiovascular events, mood changes, and other problems.
Some people are more affected by the change than others. And people who are more affected are likely people who already have some sleep difficulties.
To lessen the impact on your sleep, experts say to gradually adjust your bedtime and wake time by 15 to 20 minutes before the time change to help your body adjust. Alter daily routines like meal times, which are time cues for your body. Get at least 7 hours of sleep before and after the change to make sure you're adequately rested, and expose yourself to bright morning sunlight the week after the time change to help reset your internal clock.
For most people, just, being mindful and aware, but also not getting too distressed or overly focused on it is best.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention say having good sleep hygiene is also a critical part of bedtime, not just during the time change, but always. That includes keeping your bedroom quiet and cool, avoiding large meals and alcohol before bed, and avoiding caffeine late in the day. The agency says regular exercise and having a healthy diet can also help sleep.
Malala Yousafzai has returned to her hometown in Pakistan 13 years after she was shot in the head by the Taliban.
I'm just a normal human being. I'm no one special.
The 27-year-old Nobel Peace Prize winner said it was the first time she had been back there since she was brutally attacked at just 15 years old. In October 2012, Yousafzai was riding a bus home from school when she was shot. In the days that followed, the teenager was airlifted to a hospital in England for life-saving surgery. She and her family settled in Britain, where she went on to graduate from Oxford University. She has devoted her working life to campaigning for educational rights for girls and women.
This Tuesday was Nebraska Teacher Recognition Day. Nebraska's Nightly's Joel Bierbauer was at the governor's mansion where 5 extraordinary teachers were honored.
Multiple educators and their supporters gathered here in the Nebraska Governor's Mansion to honor 5 inspiring educators for the Thank You Teacher event. Sponsored by KFOR, KFRX Radio, and Lincoln Public Schools, this event was held as part of Nebraska Teacher Recognition Day, which honors local educators for their impact and contributions to the students and the community.
I'm very honored to receive this honor, but I'm also humbled because there are so many other retired teachers who could be here also.
5 teachers were nominated from the following categories: preschool through 2nd grade, 3rd grade through 5th grade, middle school, high school, and retired. Any Lincoln resident could nominate a teacher based on how they made a difference in their or a student's life. Doris Weens, the retired nominee, was noted for her kindness and life-changing lessons.
She always pinpointed and kind of made each student feel welcome, and there was always something. She was constantly teaching something that you didn't even realize, because like I said, when she was reading a story, she would relate it to how it would affect you later on. And when my kids were little, I'd always go back and say, well, Mrs. Weens would say, don't say can't, you say can try.
So if you have time today, or any day, thank a teacher. You won't regret it. Joel Bierbauer, Nebraska Nightly.
Thursday morning, the White House announced that Trump would be preparing to sign an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. Education Secretary Linda McMahon has prepared the first steps in the process. The Department of Education provides a national base for curriculum, along with helping fund students with programs like the FAFSA.
Personally, I'm on a couple Pell Grants right now, and I use FAFSA I've used it every semester for college, so it would affect me money-wise. I don't know if I would still be able to go to college. I probably would be, but it just would be harder on my family.
The president is facing some backlash from a number of representatives. Many are concerned with the lack of education to students the dismantle may bring. The executive order decision is expected to be announced in the coming weeks.
A Nebraska's father's battle to legally change his 2-year-old daughter's name has made some progress. Jason Kilburn announced his toddler now has a social security number. He's been fighting for months to change her name from Unikite 13 Hotel to Caroline Elizabeth Kilburn. According to the Douglas County Attorney's Office, the toddler was born in Iowa and spent more than a year in foster care. Their mother was using drugs during her pregnancy and neglected the little girl. Kilburn said the name was computer generated. Kilburn and his attorney are working on a court motion to get Iowa to update the child's birth certificate. Next with us, we have Bridger Cruz again from PBA Stadium.
Thank you, guys. I'm here live at Pinnacle Bank Arena for the NSAA Girls State Basketball Championships. I'll have a rundown for you during sports, and Trey Marler has the rest from Lincoln.
Okay, so how about this much?
I don't know.
Well, how about this much?
I don't know.
How about...
Actually, I don't know.
Okay, maybe this much?
I don't know.
The very tip of your pencil, a fraction of a raindrop, 3 grains of salt. That's how much it takes for a dose of fentanyl to become lethal. Learn more at realdealonfentanyl.com.
As soon as I kicked one of my buddies in the head, I was like, yeah, we gotta go after that.
I take back what I said.
Hey, done for the day?
Yeah, just kind of maxed out on people.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about?
Thanks for asking. I have been feeling just kind of off lately.
Do you want me to
Concerned about a friend? Just ask, and refer them to counseling and psychological services at UNL.
Welcome back to Nebraska Nightly. I'm Trey Marler. It has been an action-packed week of Girls State High School basketball inside Pinnacle Bank Arena, and that's where we find reporter Bridger Cruz, who is live with a recap of Day 3. Bridger?
Thanks, guys. You know, I'm standing here in Pinnacle Bank Arena, but it looks somewhat empty here. Well, that's because we're in between sessions at the moment. We started in the morning with Class C1 semifinals, then we went to Class A semifinals, and we're clearing out the arena, making sure everything's cleaned up for the nightcap of the night, Class B semifinals, to decide who goes to the state championship tomorrow here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. It's been an exciting day of basketball so far. A more low scoring and not a great shooting year from the state tournament, but high defense, high intensity, and high energy, like always, from the great Nebraska girls basketball state tournament. It's going to be a great one as we continue looking towards the nightcap and the championships tomorrow.
Thanks, Bridger. From high school to college hoops, the Nebraska women's basketball team continues their run in the Big Ten tournament as they squared off with 7-seed Illinois yesterday in the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Nebraska playing their second game in 2 days. Third quarter, Alexis Markowski finds Logan Nisley in the corner. That one puts the Huskers up by 1. Back come the Illini. Genesis Bryant finishes at the cup. Illinois would go up by as much as 10 in the second half. Late fourth quarter, Britt Prince finishes in the lane. That one ties this thing up at 65 all. Huskers looking for the lead. Jessica Petrie delivers. Huskers out in front late. Under a minute, Petrie does it again as the Huskers upset Illinois. They will face UCLA tonight at 5:30 Central.
How blessed am I? I'm sitting up here after my second win in this tournament with 3 different players than were sitting up here yesterday. And I think it speaks to just the depth of this team.
We have to go 1-0 every day, and so my teammates are out there fighting, and we talked about it before the game, just trusting each other.
Last month, Matt Rule announced that there would be no formal televised red-white spring game this year. Instead, he hinted at a more fan-inclusive experience to wrap up spring ball, and yesterday, the official plan was announced. The 2025 Husker Games are being held on April 26th. The day will feature a football skills competition, 7-on-7 contest, and Midland University will face off with the UNL intramural team in a women's flag football game. Then at 4:30, soccer will face Wyoming at Hibner Stadium. And at 6:30 will be Danny Busboom's Kelly's debut and exhibition against Kansas. These are the only events taking place, and you can find the full list on Huskers.com. First period, Stars out in front 1-0. Nice save there by Jan Shostak. Stars on the attack now. Aiden Jan to lefty Markinitis, who deflects into that. Stars double their lead up 2-0. Lincoln looking for more. Alex Pelletier's shot on goal is gloved by Sioux City as the Stars lose a lead late, falling to the Musketeers 4-3. Whole lot of sports already going on, guys. Baseball, softball get their openers finally. The weather is going to hopefully shift away. Baseball has doubleheader tomorrow at 1. Softball has a couple round robin games this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. On top of men's basketball on Sunday and the women's Big Ten tournament tonight at 5:30.
I'm really looking forward to getting to some outside games. I've done some basketball this winter, but I'm really trying to get to that Haymarket Park.
Haymarket Park Bowling Stadium should be ramped up this weekend. Probably need to bring a coat. It's going to be a little chilly. But again, hey, spring sports make you feel warm. So.
Yeah. Coming up after the break, UPC announces the spring concert. Stay tuned.
The University Programming Council announced that this morning that JPEG Mafia will be performing in the spring concert this year.
University of Nebraska-Lincoln's sophomore Evan Merrill said he is looking forward to attending the concert to listen to the rapper's unique music.
It's kind of like alternative rap, and he uses a lot of like noise, and I don't know, I like it for going to the gym. He kind of has a different flow than a lot of rappers, I think. So yeah, I don't know, I like his music.
The concert will be April 30th in front of the Lead Center starting at 7 p.m. Kicking off the show will be Pearl Parade, the winner of the homecoming Battle of the Bands competition.
Well, we survived a quick blast of Arctic earlier this week, but Nebraska weather seems to feel sorry for us.
Looking at your weekend forecast, it will be a great one to get out and about after the deep freeze earlier this week. Tomorrow you could catch a baseball or softball game with a 54-degree high.
By the time classes resume on Monday, it'll begin to feel like next week's spring break with a high of 77 degrees. It appears spring is starting to take over, but we cannot rule out a stray snow shower later in the month. But for now, beautiful weather and plenty of sunshine for your final week of classes before a much-needed break. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nebraska Nightly.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Nebraska Nightly is a production of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's College of Journalism and Mass Communications.